Hey, this is Clay with CPAPmyway, CPAPmyway.com. Today we're here to talk to you a little bit about water in the CPAP tube. So this is obviously a standard slim tube. You can see there's no water in there. There'd be little droplets or something. But we get a lot of calls from our customers, especially during the winter, saying that they are getting sprayed in the face with water or that they're hearing a loud popping noise coming from their machine. Almost always that is because of excess humidity condensing inside the CPAP tube. So it is literally raining inside your CPAP tube. That happens because you're obviously heating the water, which artificially adds excess humidity, and then as it travels through the tube, the air cools and it literally condenses inside the tube and will eventually start spitting it in your face or making a loud popping noise that can be super annoying. So the first thing you want to do if that happens is take your tube loose and put it over a doorway with the ends dangling down so that it will completely dry out. And then you'll want to look in your tube and make sure it looks like this, right? So no little water droplets at all. If you're trying to make adjustments and there's still water in your tube, you're not going to know whether or not those adjustments work because there's still water in your tube from the night before. Another thing that you can do is leave your tubing connected, and as long as you don't have an auto off function on your CPAP, you can empty your water chamber and run the unit for a little while dry. That means no water in the tube, and it'll usually dry the tube out in 20 minutes or so really well. Once you've done that, the next thing you'll want to do, and this is a ResMed AirSense, is go to your patient menu, and there's always a humidity control in your patient menu, even if it's the Dream Station or an older model. You're going to want to turn it down a notch or two for the next night. And so once you've turned it down, you'll want to use it that night. As long as you don't wake up dried out, you're going to be good to go. And obviously, as long as there's no more condensation in your tube. If there is still condensation in the tube, you'll want to dial it down another notch or two for the next night until you find the right balance. If it turns out that turning the humidity down is uncomfortable for you because you start getting dried out, you're going to want to explore other options. The first thing you can do is they make little CPAP Snuggies or tubing wraps that will go the length of your tube, and they're basically just little insulation cuffs that keep the tube temperature higher. That way you don't get the excess condensation. But additionally, most manufacturers like this ResMed AirSense have heated tubes that will actually allow you to keep the tube temperature steady the entire way to your mask. So for instance, this tube just plugs onto the back of the AirSense here, and it'll update the AirSense. And from that time forward, the tube itself will be controlled. You can actually set this one to an auto control so that the rain out doesn't occur, the condensation in the tube doesn't occur. And it allows you to provide a lot more humidity without the risk of having any condensation at all. Almost all home CPAPs, at least that are modern, have some sort of heated tube option because this is such a a large issue overall. The other thing that you'll want to keep in mind is that the adjustments can be need to made throughout different seasons. So for instance, summertime in Florida, it's already super humid, and so you really don't get much of the rain out issues until you start to get the cold fronts. So it's something that we hear very often after the first cold front moves through the US. We get a ton of calls about people. So keep in mind that you may have to adjust those humidity settings that we talked about earlier throughout the year. So if you enjoyed the content, please like it, hit the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see any future content, please subscribe.